Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00. With the launch of Halo Reach on Master Chief Collection for both Xbox and PC, I figured a nice way to introduce all of you PC gamers to the Halo universe in a good and comprehensive manner is to give you the story so far, summarised in brief, and then a slightly more detailed manner thereafter. For you Xbox gamers already familiar, you'll still enjoy the summary, but fair warning there are probably some spoilers, but then we are talking about games that vary from 7 years old to nearly 20, so to be honest, where the hell have you been? Anyway, there is your warning, but nonetheless I've tried to keep the spoilers and major plot twists as minimal as possible. So first, in very brief, you are Master Chief, and this big green boy kills everything. Hinge heads, technologically advanced velociraptors, high-pitched mouth breathers, and cans of worms. He also kills the Flood are the worst, because they make the things he killed not be dead anymore, so he kills them too. He likes light bulbs. He hates reading. He also hates light bulb. He punches his captain in the face, and steals a bit of his brain. He steals a ship. He remembers he hates ships. He kills more things. He kills all things. He remembers he hates ships. He kills even more things. Ring worlds are his speciality. Halo 2 rocks around, and we're introduced to a golden hinge head, 3 old dudes in wheelchairs, and blonde Mr. T. Things aren't going well for the golden hinge head, but I'm sure it's nothing to be concerned about. Over to Chief, and he changes his clothes for the first time in over a year. This is obviously a momentous occasion because he is promptly awarded for his efforts, as is the sergeant that I'm sure died at least 3 times in the last game. That, and we're joined by the daughter of the captain Chief stole the bit of the brain of. Awkward. Anyway, on to the action. Chief kills stuff, save the station, but not the other 2 because he can't be in 3 places at once. Some hero, huh? He jumps out of a big door. He blows stuff up. He hates ships. He rides on ships. He rides in ship. The Coveys hate ships too, especially ones with Chief in. Chief kills more things, including a giant beetle. Hingehead appears. We'll call him Arby short. Arby hates himself, but he likes shiny things. He hates other hingeheads. He hates the Flood. He likes light bulbs. He hates space monkeys. Back to the Chief, and for a change of pace, he falls out of a door this time. He kills more things. He hates religious leaders. He hates the Flood, the water this time, but also the Flood. Arby is back. He hates space monkey. He's looking for a key. The key kills everything, but he doesn't know that yet. He fights the Flood, the parasite. Water doesn't bother him as much as it does Chief. He hates robots. He hates human, and especially space gorilla. He is betrayed and falls down a hole. Back to Chief. He's alive somehow. Arby joins them, tries to avoid upsetting Big Venus Flytrap. Big Venus Flytrap gives them a common goal and makes them buddies. Over to Chief, and he scares high-pitched mouth breathers. He threatens religious leaders. He kills things, hates more religious leaders, leaves his girlfriend to chase a religious leader, and has some catchy one-liners. Arby's back, and he really hates space gorillas. He kills many of them. Then he hates humans, but then he hates them less than he hates space gorillas. So, teamwork. They kill space gorillas. Then they work together and kill blonde Mr. T. I mean Mr. Mohawk. I mean Tartarus. Humans and Arby like light bulb. Back to the Chief, and he has some catchy one-liners, and you're done. Halo 3, and hey, back to Chief, and he jumps out of a big door again. His best friend is hilarious. Hates hinge heads. He is haunted by his ex. He also hates space monkeys, meaning he hates hinge heads less. He hates the Flood. He hates light bulbs. His ex sends him a message. He immediately decides to go find her. He finds a ring world creating device. Immediately hates it. Is haunted by his ex. Hates elevators. Hates more religious leaders. Decides he likes hinge heads. Hates the Flood, as in the parasite, not water, but water too, because he hates more elevators. He goes back for his girlfriend. He finds her, saves her, runs away with her. His friend died. He runs away. Ring worlds are his speciality. Then he goes to sleep. Halo 3 ODST. Now you're not Chief, but there are ODSTs. It is looking like a guy's night out. Then one of the guys brings his ex. She ruins everything. This all happens around the time Chief kills things after jumping out of a door. This one is completely different, however, because you're an ODST, part of a squad, and you jump out of a door and then kill things. They've been taking advice from Chief, obviously. It goes wrong, they crash. You wake up as a strong silent type and skulk around a city at night looking for your buddies. Sounds like nearly every Saturday night ever. Cool jazz plays while you kill Space Monkey. You piece together what happened to your buddies and reunite with them one by one with the help of an AI who is actually a pink floating fella that looks a little bit like a vagina. Now reunited, you catch a ride out of the city while Hingehead set it on fire, and your buddy and his ex are back together, and they smile as they watch the city burn. Heartless bastards. Halo Reach, you're still not Chief, you're another Spartan, but not the same class, you're like the year below or something, but you're still cool because there's more of you, and this time you work in a team, except one guy's been held back. Anyway, there's you, then there's the atypical leader type, his girlfriend, but not girlfriend as their relationship status is set to it's complicated, there's the Russian with the life motto be the bullet, there's the skull dude with an obsession with sharp objects, oh and the big guy who got held back. Things seem promising as you start killing stuff. This all happens before Halo CE, by the way, just to throw a curveball. But anyway, things are going well. Then the Coveys show up. No one liked the Coveys yet because a Big Venus Flytrap and an old guy in a wheelchair hasn't made us friends yet. First half of the game is good, but then you go on a 2-man mission and the guy who got held back decides he's clocking out and throws you out of a door. Big space boom. Next, you're on your own for a little while till you find the rest of your squad and tell them the big guy died. Then you go on a 2-man mission, but this time it's the leader's girlfriend, not girlfriend, but she has an unfortunate run-in with a needle around and clocks out. Next, you go and collect Blue Girl from Old Smart
woman to give to Captain to give to Chief, but you don't know that yet, so you go and get her and take her to Captain. Russian dude leaves with old smart woman. He's the only one that survives. I wonder why. You head to the Captain, but the leader goes and does something as selfish as getting shot and suddenly remembers he hates ships. You and Skull Dude deliver Blue Girl to Captain, but have to hate ships for a moment. Skull Dude gets stabbed by sharp object. Ironic, can't say that wasn't going to happen eventually. So you're forced to hate ships, then everyone just ups and leaves you there to fend for yourself for as long as you can. Halo 4, finally Chief returns. He wakes up. He changed his clothes, but he also didn't because it's the same, but it's different. He hates hinge heads again. He hates elevators. He kills everything. He jumps out of a door. Again. He falls. Again. He kills more coveys. He finds robots. He hates robots. He saves people. He hates discount spas. He awakens Angry Tall Boy. He hates Del Rio. Del Rio hates him. Del Rio hates everyone. Everyone hates Del Rio. Everyone loves Lasky, except Del Rio, who hates him. But he hates him less than he hates Chief because Chief stole his chips.
Give me that chip.
Chief walks away, then he steals a ship. Then he hates more robots. Then he jumps out of a door, you know.
Mix things up a little.
He hitchhikes, he hates hinge heads, then he steals their ship. He hates Cortana, but he loves her too. He hates ships and asteroids and bases at the same time, so he kills all three at once. He kills more things. He finds a shiny. Shiny is stolen. Chief hates the shiny. He tells everyone they have to leave because of the shiny. No one listens. The shiny kills everyone, except Chief because of reasons. Blue Girl is sad. Chief is unmoved by the entire situation. Chief steals another ship. Chief hitchhikes again. Chief remembers he hates ship. He hates more robots. He hates Cortana. Cortana becomes Cortana's. Chief hates Angry Tall Boy. Angry Tall Boy hates Chief. Cortana hates Angry Tall Boy. Chief messes up Angry Tall Boy's insides. Chief remembers he hates ships and blows it up. Cortana saves him, but she dies. Chief is sad. Chief is sad some more. He has some catchy one-liners. He walks in slow motion. He takes his clothes off.
Whew. Well, that's all the games included in the Master Chief Collection, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed writing and recording that. But now let's do this properly, and let me give you the story so far without revealing too much, but giving you a good indication, an introduction to the Master Chief Collection and the Halo universe. Let's do this. We start the story in 2552 after the Human Covenant War has been raging for 27 years. Mankind is losing the war. The Pillar of Autumn arrives in the Soel system as a result of a blind slip-space jump as per the Cole Protocol, although it is not as random as we think thanks to the AI Cortana. We meet Cortana and the legendary Captain Jacob Keyes on the bridge of the Pillar of Autumn after they arrive in the system and find a massive artificial ring world. The Covenant, being technologically superior to humanity, have been able to track the Autumn slip-space jump and arrived in the system ahead of them and awaited for their arrival. Within 2 minutes, the Covenant began to engage. Captain Jacob Keyes gives the order for everyone to battle stations and gives Cortana a cryptic command, to which she responds,
"I've already begun."
Troops rally and we are finally introduced to a 7-foot tall, biologically augmented and cybernetically enhanced super soldier known only as Master Chief. Within moments, Chief is brought out of cryosleep, is orientated, and dropped into chaos. After recovering Cortana, Chief and the other survivors abandon ship. They find themselves on the ring world and begin rallying together. They recover the captain and learn the ring world is called Halo, and it is a super weapon and that the Covenant wish to use it. Determined to avoid this, Chief, aided by Cortana and Marines, locate the Silent Cartographer, a map-like device that reveals the locations of all major structures on the ring, which, after fighting through heavy Covenant resistance, gives them the location of the control room. With this information, the human forces led by Chief and Cortana mount an assault on the control room, and Cortana gains access to the immense knowledge of the ring. She quickly directs Chief to go and stop the captain as he is about to make a serious mistake. Chief travels to the captain's last known whereabouts and looks for him. He is obstructed in this endeavour by the monitor of the Halo called 343 Guilty Spark. 343 Guilty Spark insists that Chief's help is needed to secure the ring. Chief complies in the hopes that it will help all human forces on the ring. Chief fights his way through the library, one of the installation's more strategic and mind-boggling areas, to retrieve the activation index in order to activate the Halo and use it against humanity's enemies. After retrieving it, they journey back to the control room where Cortana confronts Chief and 343 Guilty Spark and steals the activation index, preventing the Halo from being activated. 343 Guilty Spark turns on Chief and Cortana, who then make the choice to destroy Halo. They have to attain Keyes' authority in order to send the Autumn's reactors into meltdown, which promptly destroys the ring and the Covenant forces in the area. We are introduced to the Covenant Holy City of High Charity, the Fleetmaster Thel Vadami, the elite who commanded the fleet that found Halo, a brute chieftain called Tartarus, and 3 religious leaders of the Covenant known as Prophets. Thel Vadami is on trial for failing to protect the Halo, and is ultimately sentenced to public shaming and death thereafter. We then find Master Chief had completely ruined his old suit and needed an upgrade. After receiving awards from Lord Hood alongside Sergeant Johnson, and a posthumous award to Captain Keyes given to his daughter, Chief is tasked with defending the station from Covenant boarding parties. He succeeds and delivers a Covenant bomb back to the enemy in the most epic way possible. Some of the Covenant, including one of the prophets we met earlier, the Prophet of Regret, have bypassed the orbital defences and invaded the city of Mombasa in East Africa. Chief, with the support of Miranda Keyes' ship in Amberclad, and its contingent of Marines enter the city and begin fighting the Covenant back. This is successful and the Prophet's ship attempts to leave. Keyes insists they follow, and she is granted permission with Chief in tow. We once again meet Thel, who, rather than being immediately killed, is given the title of Arbiter, which is considered a suicide mission nonetheless. He is dispatched to quell a resistance of heretics from a Forerunner facility. He is successful and discovers 343 Guilty Spark in the facility, who is promptly captured by Tartarus, who informs him that they're leaving the system. Back over to Chief, and in Amberclad arrives at another Halo, Installation 05. The Covenant ship they came with quickly makes its way to the surface, while in Amberclad dispatches ODSTs and Chief onto the ring. They begin clearing the area and target the Prophet of Regret, while Miranda Keyes and Sergeant Johnson focus on retrieving the Index. High Charity and its home fleet arrive in orbit right before Chief manages to kill Regret, but in retaliation, the Covenant destroy the structure, and Chief only just makes it out alive. We then follow Arbiter once again as he goes looking for the activation index for Installation 05. After fighting through the quarantine zone and into the library, he confronts Miranda Keyes and Sergeant Johnson as they acquire the index. Tartarus foils his attempts, takes the index and Miranda and Johnson, and betrays the Arbiter. Arbiter and Chief are brought face to face for the first time, and are given the common goal of locating the activation index by an intelligence immeasurably superior to their own. Chief, already knowing Halos are weapons, accepts this charge, while the Arbiter, still blinded by faith and shame, does not. In spite of this, they are sent on their way. Chief arrives on High Charity right as the Covenant civil war is breaking out. He fights his way through the city in pursuit of the 2 remaining prophets. Just as he gets close, they escape his grasp, but he finds one of the prophets, the Prophet of Mercy, who has been left behind, and learns that the Halo is to be activated. So he travels to another location within High Charity, this time fighting his way through a 3-sided wall, and arrives at a power conduit. Cortana tells him to leave her there, and pursue the last prophet, the Prophet of Truth, who is about to leave for Earth. He makes a promise to return for her, and leaves. The Arbiter arrives on Installation 05's surface to find the civil war has finally happened, and fights his way through this new enemy until he finds an old friend and fellow elite, Artas Vadum. He tells him that Halo is to be activated by Tartarus and realises the activation index will be there. Artas leads him to a way to get to his target, and Arbiter infiltrates the control room and attempts to reason with Tartarus to explain what the Halos really are. Now, with the common goal of survival, Sergeant Johnson stands with the Arbiter to attempt to reason. Arbiter asks the captured 343 Guilty Spark to enlighten Tartarus of the lies the prophets have told them. Tartarus, blinded by faith, ignores this, forces Miranda to activate the ring's firing sequence, and immediately attacks the Arbiter. After an extended fight, the Arbiter, his elites, and the 2 humans defeat Tartarus and stop the firing sequence. Spark informs them that all remaining Halos have moved into a standby status, ready for a remote activation. Chief arrives at Earth and informs Lord Hood he is ready to finish the fight. Chief lands hard planetside after bailing out of Truth's ship. He is recovered by Johnson and some Marines and the Arbiter, whom Chief is initially on guard about but quickly accepts the tentative alliance. Chief experiences what could be described as a telepathic-like event where he hears Cortana speak out to him. This is the first of many that will guide his progress. After fighting through the jungle against a new brute-led Covenant to an extraction point, the Arbiter, Chief and Johnson are flown to a hidden UNSC command post to attempt to coordinate an offensive against the Covenant, who now occupy a large portion of East Africa and have dug up a massive construct buried underneath the African savannah. The base is attacked and Chief assists to defend the area while they prepare to destroy the base and move to assault the Covenant position. Chief helps clear the Salvo Highway, a major access point to Voi, a town lying on the very edge of the excavated area, where massive anti-aircraft emplacements are encumbering a coordinated attack from UNSC forces. He succeeds in opening a hole in their defences of the area, and the UNSC immediately assaults Truth's position at the centre. At this moment, Truth succeeds in activating the construct, which turns out to be a massive portal. Another ship arrives right as Truth's fleet is leaving through the portal, and it is quickly learned that Cortana is on board. Chief makes his way to the crash site to recover her when he was confronted by 343 Guilty Spark, who he had last seen after being betrayed on Installation 04 weeks earlier, who attempts to take the unit that holds Cortana. Chief, after some persuasion, accepts this and travels with him to the elite-controlled ship, the Shadow of Intent, where Artas, Arbiter, Lord Hood, Miranda and Johnson have gathered, awaiting Chief and 343's and Cortana's arrival. It is revealed that the device containing Cortana is actually just a message device, where Cortana tells Chief that there is a way to end all current major threats to humanity through the portal without having to activate the halos, and that Truth is heading there in order to do exactly that. The Shadow of Intent, other loyal elite ships and a handful of human ships depart immediately and arrive at the Ark, 1 quintillion light-years from the galaxy's centre. Upon arrival, it is decided the first course of action would be to find the cartographer, to then locate where Truth is to stop him. 343 Guilty Spark assists them in this, and they all move to Truth's position. After disabling 3 energy beacons that project a powerful energy shield around the control room, Allied forces move into the area and assault the Ark's control room. High Charity arrives and crashes onto the Ark's surface, still containing Cortana. An unlikely alliance takes form, which ultimately helps the forces advance to Truth's position, where Miranda is killed and Johnson is forced to activate the firing sequence to all the remaining Halo rings. Chief and Arbiter arrive in time for Chief to deactivate the process, and Arbiter to finally have revenge for Truth's lies and kill the Prophet of Truth, thereby ending the Covenant threat. It is then discovered that the Ark also builds new Halos, and that one is nearing completion to replace the ring Chief destroyed in Halo Combat Evolved. Knowing Cortana still holds the activation index for the first Halo, he journeys to the wreckage of High Charity to look for her. After fighting through the ruins of High Charity, he finally finds Cortana and gets her out. They journey to the new Halo to activate it and end all remaining threats from the Ark's place of complete safety, where its effects won't harm any species still in the galaxy, known or unknown. As they attempt to activate the nearly completed Halo, 343 Guilty Spark informs them that the firing will destroy the ring and the Ark, but they attempt to anyway. Spark betrays them and kills Sergeant Johnson and tries to stop them. Chief has to take Spark down and activates the ring. The ring begins to tear itself apart, so Chief and Arbiter use a Warthog to get back to the human ship Forward Unto Dawn to flee from the damage and escape back to Earth through the portal. As they pass through the portal, it collapses. The front section containing the Arbiter makes it to Earth, while the rear section containing Chief and Cortana is left floating through space, where Chief enters a cryopod and Cortana leaves a distress beacon for recovery, but admits it could be years before they're found. Chief is presumed dead, and a peace between humans and elites finally happens, informally at least, at a memorial dedicated to the fallen and honouring the Chief. You begin this story as a member of Alpha 9, a squad of ODSTs. You are the Rookie, a strong silent ODST, and awaken in your pod just moments before dropping, and moments before Regret and Chief leave Earth for Installation 05 during the events of Halo 2. You orbitally drop into Mombasa, but the drop goes wrong. You lose consciousness and wake up hours later at night, alone. Your mission changes to locating your squad mates in a Covenant-occupied city, and you are helped by the city's controlling AI known as the Superintendent. As you find each piece of evidence suggesting the locations of your squad mates, you experience a kind of flashback where you can experience the activities of each member in turn. The individual stories happen at various points during the day in New Mombasa and eventually coalesce when you find that the AI that has been helping you has been merged with that of a Huragok, otherwise known as engineers, which also turn out to be Forerunner biological artificial intelligence-like constructs. And the value of such knowledge is so immense it must be retrieved from the city alive. You escort the engineer to a pickup zone, hold off waves of Covenant attack as more Covenant ships arrive and begin excavating the city. You finally manage to extract, revealing the extent of the Covenant excavation and the Ark portal lurking under the African savannah. Halo Reach is yet another flashback to events that took place before the events of Halo Combat Evolved, where you are a newly recruited member of Noble Team, a hand-picked group of Spartan 3s, a newer generation of Spartans, and one Spartan 2, on the planet Reach, a human colony and the UNSC's military stronghold. As Noble 6, your first mission after being introduced to the team is to investigate a communications relay that has gone dark. It is quickly established the reason for this is that a small Covenant task force has infiltrated Reach's defences. Noble Team gain information that a larger Covenant force are attacking the Office of Naval Intelligence's base, Sword Base, and move to assist. Upon achieving the objective, it is surmised that the Covenant forces are an initial task force preparing things for a larger task force. So Noble 6 and Noble 3 go on a nighttime stealth mission to evaluate the force strength in the area. They rig charges to Covenant pylons that have been hiding a large area from scanners, sensors and surveillance, and get eyes on an entire invading army hiding in a dark zone created by the pylons. They fall back and rally a coordinated counterattack that strikes at dawn. The armies clash, and orders are given to take down anti-aircraft cannons, and soon after get up-close intelligence on some Covenant spires, which are teleporting more forces into the area. They are disactivated moments before a massive Covenant supercarrier arrives containing a massive invasion force. A mission is planned in a cave away from the Covenant forces to mount an orbital attack on the carrier, by using a smaller Corvette-class vessel to deliver an improvised bomb made of a slipspace drive taken from a human ship. The Corvette is attacked and commandeered, and the slipspace bomb is brought aboard. The ship is then immediately sent on a refueling run to the supercarrier, when it is revealed that there is no way off the ship except by jumping out of the ship back towards Reach's surface, and that the bomb won't fire remotely and will have to be fired manually. Noble 5 sacrifices himself to do this and throws Noble 6 out of the ship, activating the slipspace bomb moments later and severing the supercarrier in half. Noble 6, with the help of his re-entry pack and his Mjolnir armour, survives the atmospheric insertion, though partially injured as a consequence, and makes his way to a city and helps with evacuation efforts. After doing so, he is located by the rest of Noble Team and extracted to the city of New Alexandria, which is now under heavy Covenant occupation. Using a Falcon gunship, Noble 6 is tasked with locating and destroying Covenant signal jammers, which are preventing UNSC command from coordinating counterattacks and defensive operations. After searching the city for a considerable time, they are all located and destroyed. Noble 2 manages to patch Noble 1 through to command, where they are given a new mission to go and destroy Oni Sword Base, the base they helped defend earlier. Unfortunately, this communication notified the Covenant of Noble Team's location, resulting in an attack on the area. Noble Team extract, but Noble 2 is assassinated in the process. The remaining 4 members of Noble Team make their way to Sword Base, where they are led deep underground to a facility located at the edge of a massive alien vessel. Dr. Halsey hands Noble Team, or in particular Noble 6, the AI Cortana for delivery to the Pillar of Autumn, which is in dry dock on Reach. Dr. Halsey and Noble 3 evacuate Reach, while Noble 1, 4 and 6 continue to deliver Cortana to the Pillar of Autumn. The Pelican they are using is attacked and Noble 1 suffers mortal injuries, and orders Noble 4 and 6 to jump and deliver the package on foot. Noble 1 then sacrifices himself to destroy a scarab platform blocking their path. After fighting through heavy resistance, Cortana is delivered to Captain Keyes and a small marine contingent in a Pelican dropship. At this moment, a Covenant ship closes on the area and begins charging its glassing beam. Noble 4 readies to fire a powerful anti-aircraft railgun at the ship, but is assassinated by some elite zealots. Noble 6 is forced to clear the skies for the Pillar of Autumn to depart. He succeeds in bringing the ship down, and the Autumn immediately launches from dry dock and leaves Reach. Noble 6, now alone, fights off waves of Covenant until eventually succumbing to the insurmountable odds. The Pillar of Autumn leaves Reach and blind jumps away from the planet to eventually arrive at Installation 04, beginning the events of Halo Combat Evolved. After 4 years in space, Master Chief is awoken by Cortana because the ship has encountered something which keeps scanning the ship. Upon moving through the ship, it is discovered a Covenant Remnant task force has located the ship, and the ship has found its way to a massive artificial planet. Chief fights back the forces and attempts a defensive against the fleet. At this moment, the planet itself is found to be scanning the ship, and scans Chief in particular. This then prompts the planet to begin to open, sucking the Forward Unto Dawn and the Covenant ships into a gravity well. Chief attempts to find a safe way off, but is ultimately tossed into space and pulled inside the planet. Chief comes to within the planet and discovers that Cortana is suffering from the onset of rampancy, a condition whereby an AI's lifespan is limited to only 7 years, where Cortana has been operating for 8. She is effectively beginning to experience the AI equivalent of extremely severe mental breakdown and degradation, so it is decided that they must find a way out of the planet so they can return to human-controlled space and get Cortana's creator, Dr. Halsey, to fix her. Cortana agrees, and they begin their search. A signal is soon detected from a human ship nearby the planet, and Chief and Cortana try to find the origin of the signal while fighting through Covenant Remnant forces and a new mechanized enemy called the Prometheans. This leads them to disactivate 2 signal relays and journey to what is thought to be a communications area. It is then found that the device they had found is actually called a cryptum and contains a living Forerunner warrior known as the Didact. The Didact immediately attacks Chief, forcing Chief to retreat. The UNSC Infinity, the human vessel that was nearby, has now also been caught in the gravity well of the planet, called Requiem, and is being pulled inside. The Didact moves to Infinity's crash site, and Chief and Cortana move to assist, rescuing survivors in the process. The Infinity somewhat recovers but is now being gravitationally locked to the planet, so Chief and a contingent of Spartan 4s are ordered to disable the gravity well. After meeting heavy resistance from United Covenant Remnant and mechanized Promethean forces, they are successful and the Infinity is released, but not before Master Chief meets a digital copy of a once living Forerunner called the Librarian, who tells Chief mankind's history and the Didact. During this time, he is given a physiological alteration that unlocks some hidden gifts in his DNA. After this, it becomes obvious that the Didact is planning on leaving Requiem, and given his hostilities towards humans, this is unacceptable by Master Chief. The captain of the Infinity, Captain Andrew Del Rio, decides to leave immediately to return to human-controlled space. Chief strongly advises against this and insists they mount an offensive against the Didact. When Del Rio directly insults Chief and Cortana, Cortana's rampancy boils over and she becomes enraged and distressed. Del Rio orders her to be ejected and destroyed, to which Chief refuses and recovers her. After a heated exchange and Chief defying a direct order, Chief leaves the bridge and prepares to leave the Infinity. Cortana asks Chief to promise to find out when this is all over which one of them is the machine, implying that she is struggling to decide if she is more human than Master Chief has become. Chief acknowledges this and is soon given the opportunity to leave the Infinity aboard a Pelican. The Infinity departs and Chief and Cortana make their way towards the Didact. It is found that the Didact has shielded the area around Requiem's entrance and his cryptum as he prepares his ship to leave. Chief and Cortana make their way to disable the shield so they can strike at the Didact directly. However, he completes his preparations and the Mantles approach a massive Forerunner ship emerges from the planet. Chief jumps aboard a Covenant ship and leaves with the Didact ship. They arrive in a star system with another Halo and a UNSC research base. The Covenant have begun assaulting the base, while the Didact scans the base for a device, a weapon, to use against humanity. Chief helps repel the forces and makes his way to the control center of the station, where he discovers the Composer, the massive device Didact is looking for. Realizing he can't remove it from the station to keep it from the Didact, he instead opts for asset denial and plans to destroy it with nuclear weapons. Before Chief is able to do so, however, the Didact locates the composer and removes it from the station, damaging it heavily. Master Chief and Cortana attempt to get a ship prepared to attack the Didact, but the Didact uses the composer against the human populace. Chief wakes up sometime later, surrounded by the remains of the people of the station. Yet he has survived due to an unlocked immunity. He and Cortana leave the station on a small human ship and again journey undetected within the Didact ship to Earth. Here, Infinity blasts a hole in the Didact ship's hull, and Chief gains access to the ship's internal area by this, and travels as deep into the ship as he can before the ship is disabled. Chief removes tactical nuke from the weapon on board and travels through the ship to its core as Cortana's rampancy worsens to extreme levels. As the Master Chief finally nears the composer, the Didact surrounds himself with an energy shield and prepares to fire it on Earth. Cortana has the Master Chief insert her into the system at 3 separate locations so that she can eject her rampant personality spikes into the system, successfully taking down the shield. However, the Didact destroys the terminal containing Cortana's data crystal chip before the Master Chief can retrieve her, and fires the composer upon New Phoenix, digitizing millions of people. Making his way onto a hard-light bridge, the Master Chief faces off against the Didact, who easily disarms him and begins telekinetically choking the Master Chief. 7 Cortanas rise from the hard-light bridge and turn into hard-light shackles, freeing the Master Chief, who plants a pulse grenade in the Didact's armour, sending him falling into a slipspace portal below the composer. With the composer firing on New Phoenix and no time to escape, the Master Chief detonates the Havoc tactical nuke, destroying Mantle's approach and the composer. The Master Chief finds himself in a hard-light bubble where Cortana has shielded him from the nuclear blast. A life-sized hard-light hologram of Cortana joins Master Chief, and to his grief, reveals that she can't leave with him, most of Cortana having been on the destroyed ship and having only held enough of herself back to save Master Chief. After a final, emotional goodbye in which Cortana touches the Master Chief for the first and last time, she disappears, seemingly for good, leaving the Master Chief floating in the debris field. Chief is ultimately recovered and mourns Cortana's loss as he finally begins to realise his own humanity, that he is not a machine, he is human. Later, he moves through the Infinity and takes off his heavily damaged Mjolnir suit as the newer generation of Spartans look on with awe. There you have it, an intro to the story so far. On top of the fact that MCC is out on PC, there has also been subtle hints from 343 that they are at least looking at crossplay between PC and Xbox, which, if accurate, could see Halo being the single most played and populated game in history, but we'll need to wait a little longer to find out exactly what they've got in mind. In the meantime, there is so much more to explore than what I've gone over here, and the best way to do that is to get into Master Chief Collection and play it through yourselves. It's a hell of a series of games, and a universe I am utterly immersed in. Enjoy the games, and I'll see you online very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below, I look forward to what you have to say. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, so Tenchi, the Silent Cartographer, Brian, Sebastian, Defiant Alpha 117, Nathan, Red Sea, and Darian, the holders of the mantle, Ty, Black Biscuit, J Rabbit, Austin, Kaiser, and Silux, my reclaimers, Zach, Deep Cover, Verbal Statue, Spesigo, Spartan, A498, Guppy, Josh, Mickey, and Bastian, my Metarchs, and all the other patrons that have jumped aboard to support the channel. You guys are awesome, and all of this wouldn't be possible without you. If you like Halo lore discussed to insane levels of detail, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you're told the second a new video hits the shelves. Be sure to support us on all major social media channels, including Discord, and if you really love the channel, consider heading over to Patreon and supporting the channel over there. It would mean the world to me and would free up more of my time for me to put into this content and other Halo-related goodness. Take it easy, everyone, and find peace in the domain.